Hey guys, so first of all, I apologize for the weird lighting. It is a gloomy, kind of stormy day, and I'm doing the best I can with what I have. So I apologize for that. As you can tell by the title of this video, I'm going to share some nurse bullying stories that, not my own, but other people's nurse bullying stories. And this is from an online nursing forum. So this is a question that somebody had asked, and I will read all of that. But I just wanted to tell you guys that someone did request this. I don't have the post currently in front of me, so I apologize that I'm not mentioning your name. However, recently on a video that I posted about creepy stories from healthcare, I think it was number 2 that I posted, this person asked if I could do some nurse bullying stories. So that is what today's video is going to be. If you are not interested, please feel free to wait for my next video or go watch another one. But this one is going to be about nurse bullying. And for those of you who didn't know, I have been bullied as a CNA. CNA is part of the nursing field, and I've been bullied as a CNA multiple times at multiple different facilities. So if you guys are interested in that, I have posted a couple of videos about my own personal experiences with nurse bullying. If you would like to go watch those, or if you would like me to tell them again, I can definitely do that as well. So just let me know. Anyways, so this person says, I was wondering if anyone was willing to give examples or stories of a time they were bullied in either nursing school or the nursing profession, or both. So I'm just going to scroll through here and share some of them, because there are like 3 pages on this forum of nurse bullying stories. So nurse bullying could be them as a nurse, them in nursing school, or them working as a CNA, just to clarify. So story number 1. When I was in nursing school, I worked as a CNA in a hospital. There was a nurse on my unit who was a control freak. She was charge nurse one day, and she assigned a 30-something-year-old woman being admitted with chest pain to one of the nurses. I was working with that nurse, and so I set up the room for her. She wanted the patient to have a lift sheet. For those of you who don't know what a lift sheet is, it's just a sheet where you can prop somebody up in the bed, or lift them, or turn them. Yeah, it's basically just a sheet on the bed to help you move the patient around. We were running low on linens that day, and the charge nurse did not want to call and ask for more. She decided that since this woman was so young, she shouldn't have a lift sheet. She told me to put it back, so I did. The nurse getting the patient scolded me and reminded me that this was to be her patient, not the charge nurse's patient, and she told me to put the lift sheet back on. The charge nurse came in and noticed I put it back, and she went ballistic, screaming at the top of her lungs at me, as she liked to do to everyone. She screamed, "When I tell you to do something, you do it. It doesn't matter what the nurse getting the patient wants." Then she took the lift sheet and whipped it at me, slapping me across the face with it. Real good way to save linens. Now it had to be put in the laundry. Turns out the patient was very large and in so much pain she had to have a lift sheet. Do you think that charge nurse apologized to me or the other nurse? Hell no. She went out of her way to humiliate and terrorize everyone in her quest to be in control of the unit. She always got her way, but only because everyone was afraid of her. I have worked with many nurses like that, and I cannot stand it. Okay, so here's another one. I can give you a couple. Mine also have to do with a control freak charge nurse. I work in the emergency room. I was in triage and brought back a peds patient with a fever. I told the nurse getting the patient about the fever so the patient could get medication ASAP. I was on my way back to triage when the charge nurse asked me if I had medicated the patient in triage. I said no, and he said to me, "What are you good for then?" Rude. Another time I was again in triage with the same charge nurse. It was crazy busy that night, and he doesn't handle stress well. Just to put things in context, I am very laid back and rarely get outwardly upset, and I never take it out on anyone else when I do. But this guy is always bullying someone about something when things get too stressful for him. So I had just brought a patient back to a room, and he was griping about the way I was handling things, and I'd had enough of him, so I said something back to him, barely raising my voice. He yelled at me in front of the whole ED and told me that he would send me home if I raised my voice to him again. Nice guy. Yeah, honestly, if he can't handle stress, it sounds like he shouldn't be a charge nurse in the first place because they have so much responsibility that there's a lot of stress involved with that. Okay, so here's another one. This one is a person who's in nursing school. I am still in nursing school and have not done my medication module yet, so therefore on clinical placements, I cannot give out any medications. On my last clinical placement on the first day, I had a nurse shove a bunch of pills in my hand and tell me to go give them to a resident. Me, I'm sorry, I'm not allowed to give any medications. The nurse, oh, that's okay, I won't tell on you or anything. So I say, I don't even know this resident, and even if I did, I cannot give out any medications. The nurse says, just give them and I'll sign that I gave them. Me, I can't do that. The nurse says, just do it. Come on, I'm too busy. Well, I just walked away and told my teacher. I would say this is a type of bullying as the nurse was trying to pressure me to give these meds and was getting quite angry when I refused. Thankfully, she was just an agency nurse and wasn't at the facility on any other days that I was there. Apparently, talking to my classmates, this sort of thing is quite common. And I will tell you, not even in nursing school, but as a CNA, I have had nurses like hand me a handful or a pill cup full of medications and ask me to give them to a resident, especially if it's somebody who is difficult, like on memory care, because that's where I've worked a lot of times where I've dealt with more confused and combative patients. And you're not allowed to give medications. You are not even allowed to hand the medications to residents as a CNA in a nursing home, at least in the United States. I don't know if that's true elsewhere. So here is, another one. Sorry, I went back to the other one. So this one says, I have worked on my current unit, 32-bed med-surg ortho unit for 5 years. For the entire time I have worked there, I have not been able to get wall suction devices for patients because the hospital could not afford them. We had a few, but not enough for every patient who was on aspiration precautions. I have been fighting this battle for 3 years since the hospital has finally made some money. I was again told the suction devices were coming, but they never arrived. Finally, I wrote a very nice, respectful email to my manager and to the CEO of the hospital asking what the status was of this project, while respectfully reminding them of the risk of not having these devices. I was very quickly hauled into the office of the new nursing director, who I had never met, for a major ass chewing for going around the chain of command. I am 55 years old, and this woman, who is much younger than me, made me feel like a child. I have as much education and more experience, management and otherwise, than she does, and she treats me this way. I have just felt very defeated since this incident. It has certainly done nothing to increase my motivation at work, and in fact, I am considering moving to another hospital. So I don't know that I would necessarily consider that specific story nurse bullying, other than, if they were speaking to you disrespectfully, then obviously I could understand that being considered nurse bullying. However, there is a chain of command, and there is usually a policy that you need to follow that chain of command. However, like I said, if they didn't handle it respectfully and properly, appropriately, then yes, that is not right. But I wouldn't necessarily consider that situation nurse bullying. Okay, this one says, the most bullying I have received came from a former manager. She would write what we called nastygrams at least every week about something or another. Once, she wrote a memo about our infusion room, which is just a room with a desk and about 6 recliners where patients would come during the daytime for chemo or blood transfusions. She wrote, there were blankets and a pillow in the infusion room again this morning. Someone is sleeping at night and they will be dealt with. She used this tone quite frequently with her nastygrams. Needless to say, I was thrilled when she transferred to another unit. It didn't help any that she had a charge nurse who was her pet. This charge nurse would write little tattletale notes to the manager, thus increasing the nastygrams. Thankfully, this charge nurse is also gone. I've dealt with that. Not necessarily in an infusion room, but like a group of either charge nurses or nurse managers. I say managers because they don't really know how to manage a unit very well, or they really don't know what they're doing, but like ganging up together and kind of just creating a whole big problem for other people. And yeah, it's not pretty. So yes, that I'm gonna end it there because that is the whole first page and we're already at 10 minutes for this video. So if you guys would like me to do a second video sharing some more nurse bullying stories, please let me know. If you have another video or another topic, I mean, that you would like me to do or share stories about, like this person did, where obviously I've shared like creepy stories from healthcare and stuff like that, but this one is a little bit different because it's dealing with people's personal experiences with nurse bullying, and bullying of any kind is not okay. I've been bullied since I was in 6th grade, and I still have people who like comment on YouTube videos, and I would consider some of that, some of those comments to be bullying as well. Like things where a couple years ago when my ex-husband and I were living in the hotels for a month or two, I had ordered donuts for breakfast, and like some of the comments that I got on that video were awful. I am still getting comments on that video to this day. The most recent one was something about a lazy female dog. You know what I mean by that, and how I shouldn't be allowed to have donuts for breakfast because I'm overweight, which I don't disagree with you that I'm overweight, but how can you tell me what I am and am not allowed to have for breakfast? And it's not like I eat donuts for breakfast every day, you know, things like that. So I've definitely had my fair share of bullying experiences. Again, if you would like to hear more of my personal stories about the experiences that I have had firsthand with nurse bullying as a CNA and in nursing school, when I was previously in nursing school, please let me know. I would be glad to film them for you. And yeah, I hope you guys are having a wonderful day, and I will see you guys next time.